So welcome to my sewing room. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. Tonight we're going to talk stabilizer basics. This is the base knowledge you need to get you through. The hard part about stabilizers is that people always want me to have an answer for them right away. People really like it when I give them a fish and I just tell them what stabilizers. Actually, I think that if I just charged like 5 cents anytime somebody wanted to ask me what stabilizer I think they should use, because there's multiple answers, stabilizer I think they should use, I would be a rich woman just at 5 cents a pop. I'd be a rich woman. So something to consider for a business practice for me, right? But I do want to teach you to fish. I don't want to give you a fish all the time. The problem is that takes some time. It takes knowledge and the right knowledge from the beginning. And then it takes practice. So you could you could study the blog post that I have posted. It's in the pinned comment. It's also in the description. You could study that and know it inside and out. That'd be great. But you still need the practical side of things too, the hands-on side of things as well. So practicing is a big deal. I know people don't want to hear it. It's not that helpful to say practice makes perfect. I know. So we're going to pair these two up together. So anyway, this blog post, machine embroidery stabilizer basics. It's so hard because I always have to say machine embroidery. I've had a few people get to my videos or come to my page and be like, oh, I thought this was for hand embroidery. So no, I'm not teaching that. So this is machine embroidery stabilizer basics. Ask your questions about stabilizers as we go. I think that there's two ways that this blog post can be used. It can be used as a if you're already in stabilizer school, there's one way that this blog post can be used. And if you're not yet in stabilizer school, this is a great first step to stabilizer school because you need to, I'm turning over my phone because it's distracting me. This is a great first step to stabilizer school. You need base knowledge. If you have just happened upon machine embroidery, this is your first few minutes in machine embroidery, right? You haven't yet done a couple things, then I feel like stabilizer school could overwhelm you. So this is some great base knowledge. Now, if you have stabilizer school, I think a lot of people didn't show up tonight because they said, I have stabilizer school. I don't need this. But this blog post is actually a great way to, first off, you could always send it to friends who need help. You could always share it in other Facebook groups when people need help. I would appreciate it a lot. But for yourself, you could still bookmark it and have on hand you could just have on hand just this quick amount of information about stabilizer categories, stabilizer types, those kinds of things. Helen, it is chilly tonight. It's chilly tonight here. I know that. How chilly is it where you are, Helen? Now, with my email that I sent out today about cold weather, I've been talking a lot about cold weather today. Today was nice here. Not really. It's chilly now, but it was nice earlier. So let me know if there's anything in your brain that is confounding you about stabilizers. If there's anything that you're feeling like, if I only had this piece, I could understand this. Or this is where I'm stuck, or anything like that. Even recommendations for blog posts, videos, what should go in stabilizer school to make it more helpful. Okay, Helen, I thought you were in Sarasota. Yeah, it's high 30s in Sarasota. Oh, God. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Hello, Orlando. So yeah, if there's any recommendations along the way for what should go into stabilizer school, other blog posts you'd like to see, YouTube videos. I have started recording YouTube videos. So anything like that, y'all know I'm here for it. But let's dive in with stabilizers. I'm going to start talking about what stabilizers are. Yes, we are at that kind of basics. We are down to what stabilizers are. And so stabilizers, they're basically the foundation of machine embroidery. I think they're the most important thing about machine embroidery, flat out. I mean, I can say arguably to seem like I'm leaving room for debate, but I mean, I guess your machine is more important, like having a machine that does it, but that's just kind of required. Stabilizers are the foundation. They are the most important thing about machine embroidery, which freaking sucks because they're also the most confusing thing about machine embroidery. Not great. Not great. So a lot of times it just flusters people and they bail, but I don't want you to do that, okay? Don't want you to do that. There are many types, weights, categories. That's how I tend to break them down. I call them types, weights, and categories. And we use them all in different ways for different reasons. So let me grab any random. Ooh, soft web. So that's actually a specialty stabilizer. Let me grab any. I know what this is just from looking, just from the color. That's poly mesh. So that's going to be a cutaway. We'll just have a few out here. Oh, there's another poly mesh in black. Ultra Clean and Tear Plus. Now I use OESD. Y'all know that. I'm very fortunate to have an international audience, and OESD is a US based company. And I believe, like Sue, you were able to get it in Canada, right? But not always. I don't think you can get it in Mexico, so I don't even think it's a North American company. I think it's a US based company that you can get in Canada, basically. So that's why I think it's important to, for me, it's important to talk specifics about a brand so anybody who can use a brand and know exactly what I'm talking about. But we also talk about types of stabilizers. So if you're in another country, if you like another brand in the US, you can break it down and figure it out for yourself. Okay, I'm going to grab one more out of here. Let's see what we got. Oh, we'll do this one. And then a wash away. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. Do stabilizers expire? Oh, Sue, you haven't found it in Canada yet. Here I am talking out my ass. Stabilizers. It's a really good question. I don't have an official answer on that. I am currently using a stabilizer that's probably 20 years old because I got it gifted to me, and it was the only kind of stabilizer of that kind that I had. It's 20 years old. It was a wash away. And I've had no issues with it. I would probably say the same thing about stabilizers expire. Well, here's some things I would say about stabilizers expiring. 1, depends on the brand. 2, probably also depends on the type of stabilizer. Like if it's an adhesive stabilizer, it's more likely to go bad than a medium weight cutaway, right? That's just essentially a sheet of paper. It's not, but you know what I mean? Whereas adhesive stabilizers, that adhesive could start to break down. OESD is really good because other brands with like washaways, it could start tacky. That's me guessing. I don't know from experience. I don't know that. But I know that their washaways in Florida, never tacky, haven't started breaking down. So my response to that would be, I should get an official answer. There is that. I should get an official answer. And the same thing I say about expired thread. which is if you start to notice a problem with your embroidery, that'd be the first thing I'd change. Just to be sure, right? Just to be sure. So why do I've had a lot of people say recently, and I do think it's a trend because I have more and more young people, and I mean like very young people, like 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are messaging me. They have found me on TikTok. I am where the children are. So, and they're messaging me to start their embroidery businesses. And I have had multiple people, actually a few of them, I can't say it's all young kids. There's a few, there's people of all ages saying, okay, but I don't need stabilizer for that one because it's a heavyweight fabric. Okay, but I don't need stabilizer for that because of X, Y, and Z. And I was trying to think of any instance when you don't need a stabilizer, and I cannot think of one. You need a stabilizer. Even if it's something like a tearaway that you're immediately going to get rid of, or a wash away that you're immediately going to get rid of, or a heavyweight canvas bag, you still want stabilizer there with you. Some people do use Material Magic. That is, oh, I don't have it anymore. I fell in love with Material Magic. I should probably get another thing of it and do a video about it. Some people use just Material Magic as their stabilizer, which is a whole mythical thing. But in that case, the Material Magic is still acting like your stabilizer, so you have to have it. I might need to get some info there, Francie Joe. So this sounds like we've hit pay dirt with this one, especially since I said I have been getting this question a lot. You always want to use stabilizer. It is just helpful. Helen said, what about cork? You'd have to use stabilizer because, oh, I happen to have this whole sheet of it, because you can't hoop this. You can't hoop this. So even if you were able to hoop just this, then maybe you wouldn't necessarily, in fantasy world, you wouldn't necessarily need stabilizer for it, but you can't put this in the hoop because it's going to mar the cork. When you push down, your cork will start to scratch and get all messed up. So we would float cork in the hoop. That's what you do for these cuties that I made. You would float them. That's why I'm trying to think of any time when I wouldn't do it. And I don't think there is one. You need the stabilizer there, not only as the foundation for our stitches to keep our fabric in place without moving around on us. It's also just great support. Like, it's like how I overstarch everything when I quilt or sew. I use a ton of starch because sewing with construction paper is easier than sewing with cling wrap, right? Same thing with embroidery. It's like you want it to be more sturdy. The sturdier it can be during embroidery, the better the end result is going to be, even if we then remove all traces of stabilizer. Okay, so Francie Joe, I want to talk about this. What do you do when the stabilizer is not as wide as your hoop? It did cover my design. So your stabilizer, this is actually an awesome question. Your stabilizer has to always fill the hoop. There's no option for the stabilizer to only fill half the hoop because you won't get good tension on it. So the stabilizer always has to fill the hoop with a little extra on the sides. Okay, now this is a lot. This is how I would teach when I'm teaching properly. When I'm being a good kid, I would teach like this. You have about an inch, about an inch on each side. Once hooped, This could probably be a little bit tighter. Maybe not. It's just stabilizer. So this is what proper hooping would look like. Now, sometimes I have a half an inch over here or something like that, but the stabilizer has to fill the whole hoop. Yeah. This is why the stabilizer comes in different size rolls, sheets versus the roll, blah, 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 blah. I would change so if it came down to like cutaway or tearaway, and I really wanted the embroidery, the stabilizer to be gone from the back of it, but there was no way that was going to happen. With the amount of tearaway I had left, I would change to cutaway and just deal with it on the back. Something else that you could do, you can float some stabilizer. You can float some stabilizer technically. I'm trying to see if I can talk about this without it going too far over anybody's heads, or if I can like actually be clear about this. So if I wanted, let's say I wanted tearaway on the back of something, but I didn't have enough tearaway to hoop it, I could hoop wash away, spray it with some spray based, put that square of tearaway in here, spray based, and put my material down. A little bit of finagling. You'd have to be careful to make sure everything is stuck well. And then the wash away would wash away, the tearaway could tear away, and we'd all be good. But I have definitely floated stabilizers before, particularly as a money-saving tactic when you have to do 2 layers of tearaway. You could do 1 layer of tearaway that's hooped, and then 1 layer of tearaway that's just inside the hoop, or just covering the part that's going to be stitched out on. So Francie Joe said, I guess I need different size rolls for the large hoops. Yes, I would get bigger size rolls. And OESD, now I don't know which brands do. I don't know if this was an old school thing or if it's still alive and well in other brands. But OESD is non-directional tear, non-directional stabilizer no matter what. So if your hoop doesn't fit this way, if your hoop didn't fit like this, which mine does, but if your hoop didn't fit like this, you can turn it this way. Now that's going to stink because you can see that I would have some extra left up at the top there, but you could cut it away and then float it on the next one like I was just talking about. I'm definitely going to talk more about some money saving tips and tricks for stabilizer, because you're going to do it anyway. So we might as well talk about, and we all do it. So we might as well talk about how to do it and still get great results. Oh, yes. Did I have my notebook? Do I have my notebook? Look at me. I'm taking notes because I love y'all. This is me taking notes in real time because I'll never remember. So let's do saving hooping and a video on floating. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do a video on floating, and I'll shoot. So between the money saving one and the video on floating, we can also talk about how I patch my stabilizers, because that is for real money saving. That is awesome. Okay. Hello, Boryana. Did I say that correctly? Boryana said, what kind of stabilizer would you use when embroidering knit fabrics? So stretch, cutaway, stretch, cutaway. stretch, cut away. Repeat it to yourself. Oh, good. I said it right. Repeat it to yourself forever, because that is one of the few rules about machine embroidery that we are going to follow. If there is stretch in the fabric, no matter if that's minky, knit, jersey, denim with stretch, whatever it is, if there's stretch, we are using cutaway. And the type of cutaway, that depends on you, what you like, what you have on hand, the desired effect, how much stitching is going to be there, but you're going to use cutaway. One of the few hard and fast rules. Yep, perfect. You can repeat it to yourself, Boyana. Stretch, cutaway, stretch, cutaway, stretch, cutaway, stretch, cutaway. And you're welcome. You're very welcome. The rolls I have are fine for up to 5 by 7. I was able to put it in lengthwise and it didn't cover side to side. I used cutaway, it worked fine, but I was nervous about it. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, I've done it too. Totally did it too. That's one of those things that will work fine till it doesn't work fine, and then it's a mess, which is what happened to me. So just to illustrate the point for others, it was like this, right? Where it does not cover at the top and bottom, or if you go this way and it doesn't cover quite right, it's a mess. You want to be sure. Stabilizer cannot be skipped, and stabilizer cannot be, it has to be in the hoop entirely. In the hoop entirely. You can float the material. We cannot necessarily float the stabilizer, though I will show you a couple workarounds for that. Okay, so we have to have stabilizer. I don't see an instance. I cannot think of one. Like I said, Material Magic, that's like material, but just the half. Material Magic is something that you can get. It is like they call it a liquid stabilizer. It is basically starch on steroids. It's incredible. I loved it. I was trying to see if I actually picked up, so I don't have any of the fabric that's been treated with it. But it's something you treat your fabric with, like you soak your fabric, you let it dry. And from there, you might be able to embroider without a stabilizer. But other than that, we always use a stabilizer. We're always making sure it covers the whole hoop. So of course, with stabilizer, we're going to do this real quick because Mama's vitamins are wearing off. We of course have 4 categories of stabilizer. We have cutaway, tearaway, wash away, and specialty. This is universal. I have not seen a single brand not use this terminology, even in commercial embroidery. Okay, cutaway, tearaway, wash away, specialty. Cut, tear, wash, they're telling you exactly how you remove it in the end. Cut away, you can only cut it away. Tear away, it just removes so nicely, tears right away. And wash away, sometimes wash away tears away a little bit too because it gets perforated, but wash away, you can just rinse it and it's gone. Okay. I also think I say them in this order, and then we have specialty. And specialty is, I always call it the and the rest, because it's in the Gilligan's Island theme song, they used to list out all the other characters, and then they finally just started saying and the rest, and that's how specialty stabilizers are. It's the and the rest. Okay. And I use that so often that it's actually in the blog post, and I believe it's also in Stabilizer School. So this is a joke you have heard many times at this point. I say cut away, tear away, wash away, because I think that's the order in which you should grab them. grab a cutaway first. It's going to be easiest on you. Tearaways are going to be a little more specialty application, and washaways are absolutely 100% a specialty application. You are not going to grab a washaway unless you know that's what you need. Okay. Cutaway and tearaway can get a little dicey because there's a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram, but that's the order I would grab them in. Cutaway first, then a tearaway. Only grab a washaway if you know that's what you need. When and Teresa, that's a great point. So Teresa said, when my stabilizer was too small, I used 2 layers, one going lengthwise and one going widthwise, and that seemed to work okay in an emergency. They were sticky, so that helped. That's the game changer. Sticky stabilizer, sorry, my computer's apparently not plugged in. Sticky stabilizer can be patched, it can be stuck together. Sticky stabilizer is, if I were you, I would have a sticky stabilizer in washaway, cutaway, and tearaway. So important to have in your stash. 1 second, my dears. You can see that's where I film back there. Plugging in my laptop so you can stick with me. So yeah, sticky stabilizer is awesome for that reason because they, you can piece them together. You can piece them together. So you can patch things. You could lay them out and lay them together to make one big piece. You can definitely limp along. And I'm not going to make anybody feel bad for limping along on anything ever. I'm really not. But it's one of those things, like I said, it works fine until it doesn't work fine. Then you're in trouble. Then you're like, no, the consequences of my actions. Okay. I'm trying to embroider a design on a beret made out of wool, and my first test stitch came out looking bad. Cutaway. I don't know what cutaway fabric wash. Oh, I see what you're saying. Cutaway fabric wash away. That's what you mean, right, Boryana? So I believe what you're saying, Boryana, is that you did cutaway on the back, then you had your wool, and then a wash away on top. Okay, perfect. With that, and they just kept sinking in, right? Okay. And they kept, beautiful, and they kept sinking into the fabric. So there's another thing. So something like this is the wash away. They also have heat away. And the heat away is a lot more like a plastic than the wash away, which is more of a soft film. The heat away might be nice, but you do have to be able to put your iron to it. So that might be tough. You also try 2 layers of a wash away. What's happening? So the question is, this is what I did. Why are my stitches still not being able to be seen? And with a wool, with a napped fabric, with certain fabrics with a lot of texture or pile, our stitches just sink into them. So you want to put a topper on them. There are 3. There are 4. There are types of stabilizers. 4 types of stabilizers. There is backing, goes on the back. There is topper, goes on the top. There is fusible, which obviously irons to the back, and there's an adhesive. These are the sticky stabilizers we're talking about here. Oh, there's something on my computer, and I thought I had like a foot on my face. So a topper is going to lay on top to make sure your stitches don't sink in. They don't get lost in the nap or the texture of the fabric. So Boryana, I think you did a great job. It just sounds like maybe your wool is so textured that you might need 2 layers of the stitch H2O. It might just be that the design is too thin, not substantial enough, basically, for that texture of fabric. Like quilting designs get lost on towels. There's just no way for them to hold up to it. So you want something nice like a satin stitch, right? So this is a home deck fabric. And not that there's a lot of texture here or anything, but a satin stitch like these work better. Oh my gosh. I just pile things. It's the ADHD, the piles. Will work better like this. Okay, perfect. Perfect, Boryana. She said she's about to test a different design to check that out. You have to think about the fabric when you're choosing your designs. Sometimes things can get lost in the shuffle. So this would not work on a towel. No freaking way. But this would. Okay, we'll set these back here for now in case I need them again. Stephanie said, did you say that sticky stabilizer comes in wash away? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. So it's called Aqua Mesh Plus. Do I have it on here? I might have it on here. I'll add my faves. Of course, these are affiliate links. It just helps support Tough Kitten Crafts when you shop from those links. But anyway, there are wash away sticky stabilizers. They're awesome for the corners of things like hankies, like like hankies or any other sheer fabrics that you just kind of want to stick on there and embroider. But one of my favorite things about it is you can actually cut them into strips and use them as embroidery tape, wash away embroidery tape. So that's why having tear away sticky and wash away sticky on hand actually ends up paying dividends, because I was playing with it, so I had to put it away. I have all these torn up bits of embroidery tape because I was playing with it. But this is a tearaway embroidery tape. You could also just take something like Ultra Clean and Tear, cut some strips, and use them on the project. Money saving. So I think sticky stabilizer is something everybody should have in their stash. Absolutely. And maybe not at first. At first, maybe you just want a cutaway or a tearaway sticky stabilizer, but eventually have them all for sure. I have it. Duh, the word aqua. I used it on embroidered cutout napkin. Exactly. If you're doing any of those beautiful cutout napkin designs or things like that, I like the sticky wash away for freestanding lace. It's nice. All right. So when would you use the strips? You're only cutting it into the strips if you need the embroidery tape, which is when you are floating cork on the back of an item. Okay. Or cork or anything. When you're floating something on the back of an item to make the back with no stitches showing. Pew, 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 pew. If you're floating some extra stabilizer, floating some fabric, and it's not in here. I made the word will come to me. Give me a moment. Card, an embroidered card, and you had to tape the card down to non-sticky stabilizer because you didn't want sticky stabilizer. You'd pull the card away and rip the card. So I used tape to stick it down. But if you don't have tape and you do have sticky cutaway or sticky tearaway, you can cut strips of your own tape. Does that make sense? Suddenly I felt like I was not making sense, and I want to be sure that I wasn't going on some weird. I want to be sure I'm talking clearly. as I mentioned, there is also the, I call them the types of stabilizer. Nobody else is really, I don't see any other like people talking about this necessarily. The types of stabilizer. Oh, and here I actually did 5. Sorry, my nose starts itching so bad when I'm live. I feel like it's maybe just a tick. So we have backing that goes on the back. We have topper that goes on the top and removes. We have cover up that stays on the top, which is what I think you may end up needing, Boyana, is a cover up. It might just be the stitch though, the type of stitch. Adhesive, so that's our stickies, and then our fusible, that's iron-on. Yeah, and what you choose for those, what you use, when you use them, that is totally dependent on personal preference, the project, the fabric. You know, y'all know I'm obsessed with my fusibles. I'm obsessed. So Stephanie said, how do you immobilize the cards? So you would take card. This is a card that I cut in half. I used the other half to back one of my other cards. And these steps are all in when you do like the OESD cards and things like that. They'll tell you, they'll like do a cutout line or whatever, placement line. And then you just tape them down. And then it'll stitch out. And then at the end, it's nice enough that it pulls right away. So it holds it nice. I mean, obviously. But it pulls right off the card, no problem. Wouldn't it be funny if it ripped it in half after I said that? I mean, it'd be good to know. Good to know now. OESD just put out the cutest cards. Let's go see if I can track them down. I'm telling you, get this. Tick. To scratch my nose. Oh, was it scissor tail stitches? Maybe it was scissor tail. Let's see. I'm gonna get you a link. Does anybody else have any other questions for me about machine embroidery, about stabilizers? I will be live on Monday, I think. We got a chance to get COVID vaccines, and they don't like let you schedule it. They're like, here's the time, show up. And not so convenient, the time. But so I'll be live on Instagram on Monday. So if anybody wants to show up, Tough Kitten Crafts on Instagram. These are those cute new cheeky cards from Scissor Tail Stitches. They have, I like the one with the corgi that says, thanks a buttload. I love it so much. We have a little corgi husky mix, so I might need to do thanks a buttload for Brad for I might need to make that for Brad for Valentine's Day. I just realized, since his dog's the corgi. Okay. What kind of paper is this? This is card. This was actually cards. These are the cards that I got from OESD. You can just use whatever A6 or A7 greeting cards, or you can use just a piece of cardstock, embroider it onto the cardstock, and then make your own card. But OESD has A6 and A7 greeting cards. I will definitely do a greeting card video coming up. I got all these great new tools and things from OESD, so there will be videos. There will be videos. Are there different hooping ideas for magnetic hoops or same techniques? I gotta be honest with you, I am out of the loop on magnetic hooping techniques because Berninas are all metal. So we don't have magnet hoops. You can't use a magnetic hoop on a Bernina and get the same results. So I'm out of the loop on magnetic hoops. I've heard Bernina said there would be one coming out, a magnetic or a snap hoop of some kind. Magnetic hoops are great for machine embroidery quilting. So I have no answer for that. I will get you an answer on that. But I've also been thinking that I probably need to bring in a couple other embroidery experts to chat with us on some of these lives so that we can just learn from other people and learn other techniques, right? Newsflash, it's going to be shocking, but I don't know it all. It's the last time you'll hear me admit it. No, just kidding. You guys know that I'm well aware. So I have one more. I want to make an iron-on patch for my sister. I'm unsure what stabilizer sandwich I need. So you would go ahead. Here's what I'm going to show you. I have a blog post for you, Brianna. Patches. It's not by me, but there's a video and a blog post. Oh, come on. There it is. DIY embroidered merit patch from Bernina. It is incredible. My friend Haley was in this video and did the blog post. She's wonderful. And so, Brianna, that will show you everything you need to know. It would be great. ADHD. Y'all, it was hard to put together that blog post with the ADHD, but we got it. That's why you have to share it with people. If you get an opportunity, you don't have to shove it down anybody's throat, but if you get an opportunity, it'd be great. It'd be great. Sue, I know it's shocking. I don't know everything. Just most things. Not everything. Just almost everything. It's like a 0.5% I don't know. Only that. And don't tell my boyfriend I admitted to that. I still haven't got my fidget toy yet, so I'm playing with a pen. Okay, next week, this is the project. There should be a Bernina blog post about this by then. And we're going to be talking about how I made this. We're mainly going to be going over the embroidery portion of it because this is a great, easy project. I don't care if you celebrate Valentine's Day or not. Make it for birthdays. Make it with other quilting designs that you love. Put together a bunch of them and make a quilt. It's great. Super great. So that is what we are going to do. Lynn said, that's the blog post I used to do my granddaughter's patch jackets. It is a great blog post. I have shared that one a lot because they did a great job with that. It's how I made my patches. Oh, Lynn, I need that pass holder. I need the pass holder patch for sure. I have a backpack that I forever said that I was going to make my Disney backpack and put all these cute patches that I made on it. And I never did it. And now I don't go to Disney. But it's got to open up sometime, right? Or I guess it's open, but I guess I'll go eventually. So next week, we're going to be doing that tutorial. The tutorial will be out. I'll be showing you how to make that embroidered table topper. We'll be talking about how to turn it into a quilt, a runner, a pillow, different sizes, different trims, all sorts of stuff. So it's a great beginner item. And then I will get the next information out because, oh, I think the week after that, it is taking your machine embroidery from good to great. Just perfect. So I'll get those up so that you guys can see the schedule of events like you could this week and next week. So yeah, I love y'all. Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern, I will be live on Instagram. Let me know if there's any other questions. I'm going to go lay with a heating pad, y'all. It's that time. It's that time. That's all I got. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm loving this. This has been so great. We didn't have a single issue to speak of. Oh, hi, Jean. I didn't know you were here. Hi, Sheila. I didn't know you were here. Hello. Of course, ask your questions in the Facebook group. Ask your questions in the Facebook group. If you've got them, message me. I am going to go, when I go lay on the couch, I'm going to get myself back in to my email. Wix logs me out all the time. And then it locks me out. Why? Why? Thank y'all. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Ask your questions. You can write them here and I will see the questions. You can write them in the Facebook group. You can email me. I'm here for y'all. We got this. Love you. Bye, Tanisha. Bye, Helen. Bye, Teresa. Bye, Karen. Bye, Francie. Bye, Stephanie. Bye, Helen. Bye. I lost it. Sue. Bye, Sheila. Bye, Brianna. Love y'all. Have a great night.